Discussion keeps the world turning.
This is Round Table.
These days, your takeout bag doesn't look or feel like it used to. Have you noticed? Neither the straw, nor the container, or the little box holding your noodles is the same. Things are changing, and some people have even stopped throwing away their delivery packaging altogether because they're collecting them. But why? We're live from our studios in Beijing. This is Roundtable. I'm Steve Hatherley. Thanks for being with us today. And for the show, I'm with Yushan and Yushan. First up, have you noticed lately that some of the little things in everyday life seem to be changing? The bag your takeout arrives in, for example, or the straw in your drink, or the packaging around your food. Somehow they are not quite the same as they used to be. But what's behind the changes? Is it because of a new government policy? Or maybe it's business innovation, or perhaps consumer demand, or perhaps it's all three. Even more interestingly, some people are now holding on to food delivery packaging instead of throwing it away. So when did takeout bags start becoming collectibles or DIY projects or even home decor? We're going to talk about how a simple takeaway order can reveal much more in terms of sustainability and urban governance and consumer culture, and perhaps the way we decorate our living rooms with things that we order from outside that come with food. Interesting story. Yushan and Yushan, good afternoon to you both. Let's start with the story. We'll begin here in Beijing.
Yes, actually, Beijing recently has introduced a new local standard titled Guidelines for the Use of Green Packaging by Catering Takeout Merchants, which is set to be officially implemented on the 1st of September. This so-called slimming, people call it slimming standard for takeout, provides a more clearer manual for businesses on packaging materials and the usage and classification. So nationally, there are also some regulations. It's called the Regulations on the Supervision and Administration of Online Catering Service Operators Implementing the Main Responsibility for Food Safety.
That's a long title.
Yes, but mainly for the food safety of the takeout that we can order on online platforms.
Yeah, that's new, right? That came into effect on the 1st of June?
Exactly. And it is also marking a shift toward responsibility-based governance for both platforms and also merchants.
So we're talking about green packaging here, but it's a very kind of vague, broad term. So what does it mean when we say green packaging?
It's the packaging that throughout its entire life cycle, it can be minimized, it can cause minimized harm to human health and the environment while consuming fewer resources and less energy. Just think about like reusable packaging bags or biodegradable plastic bags and stuff like that. But at the same time, they're still able to fulfill its basic intended function, which is to package our food during delivery services. So yeah, it's now becoming more diverse, apparently, the market. And food delivery merchants, they are now required to use green packaging that complies with national food safety and hygiene standards. I think that means, in very plain words, our food delivery in the future, when we receive them, are being upgraded. If not...
the packaging are being upgraded.
Yeah, not the food, of course. Just the service itself and also the packaging.
Upgraded by a slimming down. Do you notice that? We all order food quite consistently throughout our daily lives. Do you notice that when you get food, or has it ever kind of given you a moment where you say, oh, wow, this is a lot of unnecessary plastic or unnecessary packaging that's involved here?
Yeah.
I would say for a lot of times it is quite excessive. But if we're talking about it is necessary or not, it actually depends. It depends on whether this person who ordered the takeout is caring about whether there is like one drop of the soup spilling out, or is the food warm enough to receive at your doorstep. So of course there are some packagings like the ceramic wrapping around the bowl to make sure that there are no liquids spilling out, and also some, I think it is the foamy package to keep the whole food warm in the winter, even in cold winter.
Yeah. There are certain things that are kind of understandable. For example, the bags that I don't know what the technical term is. Maybe we'll get to it later. The bags that keep your food hot. That's a bag. So when the employee puts the food in that bag, they use one. They know how many bags to use. One. But where it gets a little bit open to interpretation, if you will, is that saran wrap that you're talking about, Yushan. If you order some noodles or some soups or whatever, something that could potentially spill, well, there's no, or maybe I'm wrong, but there doesn't seem to be a designated amount.
Yeah.
Meaning they'll just wrap and wrap and wrap. And it's up to the employee who's doing it at the time to decide how many times they're going to wrap that around the bowl or how much of that saran wrap they're going to use. That's just one example I think of where there's no predetermined amount, so that could be more than necessary.
Indeed. And we totally understand that for some shops or restaurant, that comes from the necessity that they've received perhaps negative reviews before, saying that, oh, when the soup got here, it's all spilled out.
Sure, yeah.
So, they have a good reason to
100%.
wrap. But in the meantime, like you said, Steve, it's sometimes is not really necessary. And that's why the new Beijing local standard is pushing out several of the general packaging principles. One would include the temper evident design, where the restaurants and the merchants, they are encouraged to use single-use seals for bags that cannot be restored once opened. So this will help prevent tempering while reducing the need for secondary packaging.
Yeah.
And also the packaging kind of need to be selected based on the food or the specific food's type and the size in order to minimize the empty space left in the packaging as well as a way of saving.
Yeah, so they're trying to reduce the amount of quote unquote waste.
Yeah.
To make the packaging as efficient as possible. The new standard, it's called Guidelines for the Use of Green Packaging by Catering Takeout Merchants. So if I'm correct, this is coming in, this includes the things that you just mentioned, Yushan. This comes into effect in the beginning of September. So there will be some time to adjust to this for businesses.
Right.
And you talked about something that I think is really important there, the single-use seals or the bags. So you said it prevents tampering while reducing the need for secondary packaging. So that means that, okay, it's going to show the customer that it hasn't been opened before. For example, a bag tears or if a seal that breaks when you open it, you don't need to glue it back.
Right.
If it remains or to make it look unopened. And this is really good because it keeps the product safe from tampering and it reduces the need for that extra outer packaging. And I was wondering, well, why does it reduce the need for the extra outer packaging? Well, traditionally, to prove that a product hasn't been opened, a business like a restaurant would put the item perhaps inside 2 layers of packaging. So you'd have the inner packaging, like the bottle or the bag or whatever's holding the actual product itself. But then you'd have the outer packaging, which would be like a cardboard box or some sort of heat trapping bag or something like that. And that bag also needs to prove that it hasn't been opened, right? They'll put stickers on that to prove that. But here's the point. If the inner packaging itself is tamper-proof, like the bowl that the soup is in, if that's the proof that the package hasn't been opened, then you don't need the extra proof.
On the outside. Yeah.
So that's the whole point about the reducing the need for that exterior packaging.
Right.
Extra exterior packaging.
Yeah.
Sorry, just quickly on the design too, that's going to change a little bit.
Yeah, they are actually kind of looking for that minimalist design. Printing on packaging should be simplified to reduce the total printed area to like print as less as possible, and also avoiding some of the functional redundancy should be avoided. One example is that a lot of time we're using these non-woven bags, which means that they often used for insulation, and they should only be used when there is an actual need for temperature control, which means that when it is really temperature sensitive product, like maybe barbecues, and also it is in cold winter that you really need your food to be hot enough when it's received.
Yeah, if you're ordering, 12 oranges, then you don't need
a woven bag.
an insulated bag.
Yeah.
They're also quite bulky, right? They tend to be on the larger side, and those bags too are made up of multiple materials. You've got plastic and foil, maybe sometimes foam in there as well, which means because they have so many materials inside, it's harder to produce recycle those bags because everything needs to be separated.
And the thing is that sometimes these bags, they are quite reusable. Every time that I receive them, I keep them, even though I don't know when and how to use them.
I'm telling you,
they're quite nice.
Yushan has one of those foam bags that he's been using for at least a year, if not 2. That's right in his... sorry, I'm telling everybody where to find it. But yeah, it's right in his jar that he used to keep his food warm.
But just in case, when we need to keep our food warm, maybe I will use it for one time. But the thing is that, they are in high quality, and I don't understand why they can give it to you for free every time that you order them. But of course, now there are policies that telling you should only use them when it is only necessary. And also, it's about the disposable tableware. The merchants should not proactively provide these tableware and are encouraged to guide consumers to reuse packaging for non-food purposes, just like me. And I know, and these kind of policies, not proactively provide, and some of them charge you for these tableware. It's been there for a while.
That one they do a good job of already. When you order food through an app here, you'll get a message before you complete your order. Do you want tableware or do you not? And what that means is the prepackaged chopsticks and spoon and fork or whatever they give you. Do you want that or do you not? And I think you can set it for, a permanent setting, but if you don't put the permanent setting, it will ask you every time, do you need this or do you not? So it gives you the option to say no. I don't need this, and then they won't send it to you, which is a good thing. Now, where it gets, I think this is quite simple when it comes to things like a pizza, for example. A pizza goes in a cardboard box, or barbecue, like you said, the skewers, they'll put those in paper bags oftentimes, and then put that in another bag, and then right to your door. It gets more complicated, though, when we talk about things like soups or noodles or things that can spill. And these types of foods get ordered a lot every single day.
Yeah, but at the same time, the guideline we mentioned, it also categorized packaging into 2 main types, like you mentioned, Steve. The one is for just simple packaging, like for buns, pancakes, pizza, cakes, or even fried foods and burgers, things that can be a bit oily. These different, depending on what food we're talking about. Like, for example, for buns and pancake, it should be just using normal paper bags, which is enough because most of these are not too oily and it's kind of cleanly served in a way. There's no soup, there's no anything.
Yeah, it's easy too.
Yeah.
There's not a great risk of the product being damaged or something on the way to your door.
Paper bags, paper boxes, and then there's the high oil fried foods like fried chicken, and these are encouraged to use biodegradable materials, meaning that foils is probably no longer an option, but biodegradable plastic bags. But then there's the barbecue, your favorite, that should be wrapped directly in aluminum foil and paired with a sealing bag, meaning that there's no juice dripping out, not only on the way of delivery, but also once it's served on your table. But on the other hand, we have the second category, which is for sealed packaging for items with significant soup or liquid. So for leak-proof structures, there's the high-temperature food like soups and noodles that should use some specific leak-proof designs to minimize or eliminate the need for plastic wraps.
Right.
I'm thinking about maybe in the future, instead of wrapping the lid, the cap, over and over again with plastic, maybe there will be a new type of delivery bowl.
Well, I don't know if I was just going to say that. I don't know if they've created that yet, because this is the challenge for businesses, because if you order some mala, right?
Malatang.
Yeah, malatang. And it gets to your house, and half the soup is leaking out of the bag. Well, you're not gonna blame the delivery person. You're gonna contact the company and say, "Give me a new one." Now that's an immediate loss for the company because they're not gonna say no. And that's why they go through the extra effort to wrap that saran wrap all around. Because if there is some tipping or some spilling, it minimizes the potential for that happening. Because here's my other point why this is difficult for the businesses. Once they pass that package on to the delivery driver, they can't guarantee that the delivery driver isn't going to drive in a reckless manner or something where your soup is going to bounce around in that bowl. They don't know that. They're just hoping it gets to you the way that they presented it themselves. So this is a very difficult thing, I think, for businesses to deal with. I've never seen one of those tamper-proof plastic bowls, if they do exist, but maybe that's something people are working on as we speak.
I've seen cups that holds drinks pretty well without extra wrapping on the external part of the box, the cup. But for bowls, yeah, it's larger inside. So yeah, more thoughts and designs going into that one for sure.
Actually, I've been coming across some of these bowls. They use these one-time used lid that you can easily put it on the bowl, but you can only open it for once.
Oh.
And there is a little handle that you
have to crack it?
Yeah, crack it down, and then the lid can be opened. Otherwise, it cannot be opened, even how strong you are. But the thing is that I think they are quite capable of keeping the liquid inside. And also, as you said, some of these cups, they have really good designs.
Yeah.
I receive my drink almost every afternoon without spilling out a drip. But there are any saran wrapping around it. There is just that biodegradable plastic bag is holding it.
Plus the cardboard thing.
No cardboard.
Oh, really?
Yeah, just a bag of drink. So, yeah.
Because oftentimes when they deliver drinks, they'll put them, maybe that's if you order more than one,
yes.
they'll put them in a little cardboard thing, which is just another thing that needs to be included into the package. Talking about these regulations, it's not the first time we've seen them here in the country. China has restricted the use of plastic packaging for years, as a matter of fact. How did we get here?
Since nearly 2 decades ago, right, Yushan? I think that's when we hear a lot about, paper straws in the drinks, the biodegradable cutlery that comes with takeout, or the fact that supermarket shopping bags, they are no longer free to take.
That's the first incident that probably comes to our daily life, and we started to realize, okay, now we are actually reducing the use of plastic bags.
And the policy arrived starting in around 2008 when the General Office of the State Council introduced China's very first nationwide plastic restriction order. So effective June 1st that year, the ultra-thin plastic shopping bags were banned, and retailers were required to charge consumers for plastic bags. I remember I was only in maybe middle school at that year, and we were doing school campaigns, and all the students were doing were assigned to do small school projects to offer your idea for what kind of replacement there are for plastic bags now that people are starting to pay more attention on it.
Do you remember what your idea was?
I was thinking about maybe replacing the plastic film, the paper bags in fast food chains like McDonald's or KFC into something bamboo related, some new idea that I was reading online. But of course it's not working. But it was a fun experience.
We had kind of similar projects,
right?
And we were just encouraged to have these tote bags that you can go for shopping, and then they will offer us the blank one, and you can decorate these things, and kind of a way to introduce and tell you how to have a more sustainable life in a way that you can carry your own bag to the shopping center.
I have about 100 of those bring your own bag to the grocery store bags because I always forget. And I sit here on the radio, we do our podcast, and I talk about this stuff. And I think that I am similar to a lot of people. I care about the planet. I don't want to intentionally harm the animals or the oceans.
Of course not.
I don't want to do that. But at the same time, I forget to do my part on a daily basis. And I intentionally bought one of those bring your own bag to the grocery store. I felt good about myself. I was like, okay, I'm doing my little part here. And then the next time I go grocery shopping, I forget to bring it at home. So I have to buy another one.
It sounds way too familiar.
That's my point.
Yeah.
So my question is, wait, are those bags better? Because if we're just as consistently buying those bags, because Yushan, you and I can't be the only people on the planet. It's got to be a whole lot of other people too. I wonder how much of a difference it's actually making. I always feel so guilty about that.
I kind of understand that, but the thing is that I also got confused or like think twice when I saw that they're still like offering plastic bags, but what is different is that they charge you for that. So I was thinking, okay, is it really like cutting the produce or the whole world is having less plastic now? Because we still have that. It's just that you need to pay more to use them.
Yeah, but how much do you actually have to pay?
But the thing is that
it's so cheap.
Maybe I was also thinking, even though there is one time that I refused to use that plastic bag, so in this world, one day, one time, there will be
Millions of people out there thinking exactly the same thing.
And there are going to be like -1 plastic bag in this world.
Each one counts.
Yeah, so that's what I thought. So maybe, you've paid more for buying these bring your own bags, but maybe one day you just started to realize, okay, I need to bring my bag.
Yeah.
When you buy enough.
I do. I do. I feel like I could open my own shop now selling those bags. Paper straws, too. That became a thing. Here in China and also in many countries around the world. I think the EU did something about single-use plastic straws back in 2021. Canada implemented a national prohibition on the manufacture and import and sale of several types of single-use plastic items, including straws. The UK did something similar back maybe a few years ago around 2020. And China too, the plastic straw thing became an issue here too.
Yeah, that's kind of also a major turning point in around 2020. In January, the National Development and Reform Commission and also the Ministry of Ecology and Environment jointly released opinions on further strengthening plastic pollution control, often referred to as the upgraded version of the plastic restriction policy. And unlike the earlier focus on shopping bags, the document expanded to scopes include plastic straws, disposable tableware, and takeout packaging and express delivery materials, while setting phase targets for 2020 and then 2022 and then 2025. And also that's the moment or the time period that people started to use the paper straws.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you feel about the paper straws?
The way I remember it is that we're only talking about national policies. It's not like this rolled out, everybody start to follow suit. It's just sometimes some companies already started ahead of the national policy was rolled out. And I remember the first time I saw it was in the fast food chain that I was going to ask for a straw and they say we no longer serve it. But if you want something like that, we have this. I was like, can this even standing in my drink for longer than 2 minutes without melting?
And the answer is?
It actually didn't melt. So that's pretty cool. Okay. I was too young to learn what's the magic behind it, but yeah, that's the first impression of you replacing something with replacing something that you think will be permanently out there acquirable with something that's reusable or biodegradable.
This is the problem, though. This is the problem, is that you need to convince the customer to use these types of products, right? And this is going to be the issue with the change in policy about, businesses have to come up with a better way to package the food. Well, the customer needs to be happy with their purchase. I went to Starbucks. This was when I was living in Korea. And this was around the time that the paper straw thing became a thing, and Starbucks had switched over to paper straws.
Yeah.
And I bought whatever I bought, like a Frappuccino or something. And then like 5 minutes into my Frappuccino experience, all of a sudden the straw was at like a 90-degree angle.
Oh, really?
And I'm like, and I felt bad for saying it, but I felt like I want my plastic straw back.
I know.
And I know that makes me sound like a jerk, but my point is that if you're going to replace the items, if you're going to do it in a way that's better for the planet, you also have to do it in a way that's good for the customer too. Otherwise, the customer's going to stop buying, at least from that shop. Maybe they'll go somewhere else where they you know what I mean? Like this is what we have to do. It's not just about making policies. We have to make policies that are going to be good for the customers too.
Yeah.
Exactly. But also, at least all of these companies or the world have tried, even though the world didn't really like the paper straws. But the thing is that at the same time, policymakers here in China recognize that only banning these plastics alone was not enough. So standards were needed for alternatives. And then in 2021 and 2022, national standards for biodegradable drinking straws and biodegradable plastic products were introduced by the State Administration for Market Regulation and Standardization Administration. So these standards helped address consumer complaints about like these early paper straws while ensuring that new products could also genuinely meet environmental requirements.
And it's not just Beijing. Other cities around the country are doing it too. Shenzhen has targeted campaigns that are proving to be pretty successful. They've launched a waste sorting and plastic reduction initiatives, as a matter of fact, that are focused on takeout packaging and single-use plastics, and they've done it across all of their 10 districts within the city. They've participated in these recycling programs, which is a step in the right direction for sure. Shenzhen's doing that. Shanghai, they're also doing something there too. The city is forming the Shanghai Green Environmental Protection Catering Takeout Packaging Alliance, and that includes 13 founding units. An example of that would be the Consumer Protection Commission. Food safety associations are involved. Major platforms, Element and Meituan are involved. So we're seeing it in all different cities around the country. So it's good to see that it's going to be on everyone's radar. It's not just a Beijing thing.
Yeah.
No.
And I think another trend that you just mentioned before is also, I think it is another perspective in this kind of thing that is using these packaging to another purpose, that is making them into maybe not only home decor, but also some decorations on your, like I saw a lot of people do like scrapbooks, because some of these packages, they do collaboration with some certain brands or
and really cute IPs too.
Yes, they cut it down for that specific cartoon image and then make it into a very fancy book.
Oh,
I heard Honglin does that.
does
Is it
she?
Honglin? Right?
Yeah,
Well, she
it is
sounds
kind
like
of becoming a collectible
This
when
is-
people are actually using it and cherish it.
And this is the trend. And in the beginning, I said, why are customers collecting these things? Well, they're very nice. As a matter of fact, they look really good and they're really stylish a lot of the times.
And some of these hard paper bags, they can actually be reused multiple times, and they can be folded into storage box for your refrigerator, for your shelf, for kitchen cabinets. There's all different types of adaptation you can cook on based on what you receive and based on what the patterns are.
Yeah.
So there are all different kinds of innovations young people are coming out these days, but IP related or not, collection related or not, I think the simplest things that all of us can do is, for example, we order grocery from an online grocery shop, or I don't know, Sam's Club or a supermarket nearby. Then they always give you this huge plastic bag or biodegradable or not, they are there to hold on to the grocery you buy. So one thing that I do recommend everybody to do is don't throw those bags away, keep them, and you can always find a good place to use it, whether it's to use it as your rubbish bag or something similar to that or not. So yeah, there's always millions of ways that you can make use of things like that and adapt it to something that can come in handy in unexpected ways.
And I'll use what you said there as a segue into our next topic, which is coming up in just a few minutes. Yes, like Yushan said, don't throw things away. And if you wonder, well, then what can I do with it? Allow us to introduce you to repair cafes. We'll get to that in just a few minutes.